Before Jurassic Park became a blockbuster film or a billion-dollar franchise, it was a screenplay, one penned not by David Koepp or Steven Spielberg, but by the original creator himself, Michael Crichton. And the story he told? It was darker, stranger, and at times different than the version we all know. In 1989, Michael Crichton released his novel Jurassic Park, a techno-thriller blending cutting-edge science with pulse-pounding adventure. But even before the book hit shelves, studios were circling like sharks. Universal quickly snapped up the rights, and in a rare move, Crichton was hired to write the first screenplay adaptation of his own book as well. This January 1991 draft, which was Crichton's revised first draft, would lay the groundwork for everything to come. While later scripts by Malia Scotch-Marmo and David Koepp would shape the final film, Crichton's draft is where the core ideas, structure, and tone were first locked in. It's not just an early take, it's a version of the story that, in many ways, feels more grounded in horror and science fiction than the final film. And the plot? Let's walk through it scene by scene. The story opens with a scene reminiscent of the opening scene in the Jurassic Park sequel, The Lost World. A family is vacationing on a beach in Costa Rica when their daughter, Tina, is attacked by a small, green lizard that walks upright. Her father kills it, but when doctors ask Tina to draw what bit her, the sketch resembles a small dinosaur. Disturbed, the father confirms the likeness and returns to the beach with medical officials to recover the remains. The sample is sent to New York for analysis. Meanwhile, in Montana, Dr. Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler receive a fax showing an X-ray of the creature. Grant is stunned to see it appear saurian. Before they can investigate further, lawyer Donald Gennaro arrives via helicopter. He informs them that John Hammond wants them to visit a new resort he's building off the coast of Costa Rica. They agree to take the impromptu trip. On board Hammond's private jet, they meet his grandchildren, Tim, the older and more mature of the two, and Lex, the younger tomboy. In this version, Lex is the younger sibling, which is the opposite of what we see in the film. They fly to Isla Nublar and are each given private rooms, but something feels off. The windows are small and barred. It's like a jail, Grant quips. Still, they have no idea what this resort actually is. Downstairs, they meet Ian Malcolm, who already knows. He says he warned Hammond 5 years ago not to pursue this idea. Soon after, they're taken to an auditorium for a presentation on how the dinosaurs were created. But instead of Hammond giving the speech, it's Park PR man Ed Regis. We'll just refer to this Chad as Ed Regis going forward. He delivers a lighthearted explanation of DNA extraction from amber, cloning, and embryo incubation. Essentially the same science lecture we get in the film minus Hammond doing the presentation alongside Mr. DNA. Now that Grant understands what Jurassic Park really is, he has questions, lots of them. Regis takes the group to meet geneticist Dr. Henry Wu in the lab, and Wu walks them through the cloning process before finally introducing them to their first living dinosaur, a 2-week-old velociraptor. The raptor, which is friendly, harmless, and toothless, leaps onto Lex's shoulder like a bird. Wu explains it was engineered as female to prevent breeding. Regis adds that the adult raptors aren't on the tour because their habitat isn't finished, so they're stuck in a holding pen. From there, the group visits the control room and meets a young Sam Jackson, better known as John Arnold, the chain-smoking chief engineer, and Dennis Nedry, the system's slovenly lead programmer. Arnold demonstrates the tracking systems, and we see that the park's dinosaurs, including the Tyrannosaurus Rex, are all monitored by sensors. Then the real tour begins. They board self-driving Toyota Land Cruisers, each equipped with computer screens, CD-ROMs, walkie-talkies, and night vision goggles. Grant, Ellie, Malcolm, and Gennaro ride in the first car. Regis, Tim, and Lex take the second. In this version, Grant is more receptive toward the kids, and they joke and bond early on. The first stop, they see a herd of hadrosaurs and 2 apatosaurs, a moment so majestic it brings Grant to tears. This is the first draft's version of the famous "Welcome to Jurassic Park" scene in the film. Back in the control room, Arnold is tense. We learn the real reason the raptors are in a holding pen is because they're too dangerous to be featured on the tour. He wants them destroyed. Wu also agrees with Arnold. Hammond, of course, refuses to have the animals put down. That is until Wu invites him along to observe the raptors feeding. The holding pen is actually a pit guarded by electrical wires. In this version, a carcass is lowered via electric winch, and the raptors, still hidden in foliage, rip it apart. Wu warns that they once escaped and will almost certainly do it again, which is why they should be euthanized. But Hammond is still skeptical, until he walks near the fence and a snarling raptor leaps from the darkness, exploding in sparks, nearly grabbing him through the bars. Another raptor lunges, and that's all it takes for Hammond to agree and decides to officially put the raptors down after the tour. Next up on the tour is the Dilophosaurs. The group learns they're venomous and spit poison, like in the films. But unlike the movie, they actually see a pair. Hammond, who is listening remotely, hears the automated tour guide mention the animals are poisonous and decides he doesn't want the word poison mentioned on the tour based on how his grandchildren reacted fearfully to it. Arnold quips, "That's the reality. Dinosaurs are scary," and Hammond fires back, "I don't care about reality. I didn't spend $4 billion in 5 years to make a park that scares kids." The tour then visits the Triceratops area and finally the T-Rex paddock. But like the film version, the Rex doesn't show. However, they're assured they will see the Rex on the way back as the tour will pass by his paddock again. Meanwhile, an incoming storm prompts the ship captain to radio the control room. They need to leave the island early. Nedry panics. He was planning to smuggle out embryos tomorrow. Now he only has an hour. Back at the tour, they stop at the Stegosaurus paddock where a sick animal is being treated by Robert Muldoon, who appears for the first time. Ellie and Gennaro stay behind while the others move on. The tour stops at the T-Rex rest area once again. Arnold tells Hammond the cars will be there for 10 minutes. Nedry, watching the clock, initiates his plan by disabling the park security systems and leaves, claiming he's getting a Coke. He then rushes to a secret terminal, makes a call, and learns that this is his only chance. He immediately rushes over to the fertilization lab. There, he steals the embryos and places them inside a disguised shaving cream can. Then he escapes in a park ranger's jeep and, unlike the film version, actually makes it to the ship, handing the can over to the captain. But 2 juvenile raptors sneak on board behind him, to which they don't notice. Meanwhile, the land cruiser monitors go out as Tim notices the ship in the distance and sees the raptors boarding it through night vision goggles as Nedry takes off. He hands the goggles over to Grant, who confirms what he's seeing. Regis tries to radio the control room, but discovers all communications are down. At the control center, Wu and Arnold realize power to the electric fences are toast, and, like in the film, Nedry crashes his jeep and is killed by a Dilophosaur. At the paddock, the Rex breaks through the fence, prompting Regis to flee in fear and is killed off-screen by the Rex. The Rex returns and attacks the land cruise. Lex escapes, but Tim is trapped. The car is knocked over the edge onto a tree. Malcolm flees, and it was unclear whether he did so to either to draw the Rex away or out of fear. But the beast catches him, bites his leg, and slings him through a restroom door. After the Rex vanishes, Grant rescues Tim from the tree. Back in the control room, Arnold confirms Nedry sabotaged the system, and Hammond is furious, knowing he never trusted Nedry, who says it could take hours to fix, hours they don't have. Grant, Lex, and Tim are pursued again by the Rex, but escape up a tree. The Rex loses interest in our heroes after he spots a herd of hadrosaurs. Grant and the kids spend the night in the trees and are woken by sauropods eating leaves in the morning. Muldoon, Ellie, and Gennaro find Malcolm and bring him back to the control room, where they learn the dinosaurs are breeding. A nest full of eggs confirms it for Grant. Then comes the famous river raft chase from a novel with the T-Rex, a scene later repurposed in Jurassic World Rebirth. Grant and the kids survive the chase, and the Rex is tranquilized by Muldoon and Gennaro, though Grant never sees who shot it, nor does Muldoon ever spot Grant and the kids in the water. Grant and the kids also witness 2 Dilophosaurs mating, proving the dinosaurs can change sex. Back at the lodge, we learn the power can't be restored from the control room. It must be reset from the maintenance shed. Muldoon escorts Arnold to the shed, but the raptors escape the pen just as they pass, killing Arnold while Muldoon narrowly survives, shooting and killing a few before fleeing. Grant and the kids return to the visitor center and discover a dead guard. They take his walkie and radio the other members to learn the raptors have escaped, and a few are chewing the electric bars to the lodge, guaranteed to break through soon. So it becomes a race against time. Ellie runs out and lures the rest of the pack over so Grant can safely make it to the shed. But unfortunately, she manages to lure all but one raptor away. Grant is forced to navigate through a foggy, white terrain. He can't see too far in front of him, which makes this particular scene intense. It's very atmospheric as the lone raptor stalks Grant in the fog, but fortunately, he manages to reach the power station and restores the electricity. Meanwhile, another raptor invades the cafeteria. Lex and Tim manage to trap it in a freezer. But at the lodge, Wu convinces Grant to return to the control station so he can guide him remotely on how to reboot the computers. Shortly after, Wu is killed by another raptor just as he opens a door, while at the visitor's center, two raptors appear and corner the kids. Just as they're about to strike, Hammond distracts them and ultimately sacrifices himself to save his grandchildren as the raptors kill him. Grant reunites with the kids and leads them to the control room. With Wu gone, he's useless with the computers until we learn Tim is the hacker in this version and ultimately saves the day by rebooting the system. With more raptors closing in, Grant runs to the lab and finds dinosaur eggs, as he has theorized throughout the screenplay that raptors have a taste for eggs. He injects them with a biogenic toxin he finds in the lab and manages to lure the raptors into eating the eggs, killing all but one. The Alpha Raptor. This monster doesn't fall for this trap. So Grant improvises and uses Ellie's voice from the walkie to distract it, then stabs it with the toxin himself. With the systems are restored and the team finally safe, Grant radios the ship and demands the return of the stolen embryos. The captain agrees to bring them back. A helicopter arrives to rescue the survivors. As they fly away, they see a herd of dinosaurs in the distance and deduce that these creatures will go extinct again in a matter of days. And this is where Crichton's story ends. So in his version, Muldoon and Gennaro survive while Hammond and Wu are violently killed by raptors. There's no doubt Crichton's screenplay is leaner, perhaps darker and more action-oriented than what hit theaters. Most importantly, it's a window into what could have been an alternate version of Jurassic Park where chaos almost wins and science never had control to begin with. But let's be real, although this version is entertaining, nothing will ever top the original. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Michael Crichton's original vision, let us know which version you prefer, the film we got or the film that almost was. Until next time, life finds a way.